I swear up and down die. The only book I've tried to read by her, I DNF, I loved it. It was so good. Physical TBR needs to stop. Like, it needs to just stop. Sometimes I just read descriptions and nothing like processes. And he is a billionaire with a B. Ooh, this low-key might be sad. Wait, I want to read this right now. We just need to get rid of it all. Like, I just need to read them all somehow. But the cover actually just makes me want to buy the book, which is bad. Hello, my sweet and beautiful besties. So this is an exciting video because we are going to be doing my summer recs and also TBR. So we are going to be starting with my summer book recs, which I feel like summer reading is just the best time to read. And I also feel like a lot of us aren't in school during the summer, so we may be able to get some more reading done than normal. I wanted to do this video because the weather kind of started to feel like summer. And then today it's like 60 and pouring rain all day, so it's cozy today. It's not necessarily summer, but the summer vibes are still gonna be here in this video. So let's get started with some summer book recs. So I kind of broke them into categories like romance and like YA, and then fiction, thriller, fantasy, whatever. So let's start with the romance because I feel like that is the definition of summer. So the first book I have, I actually finished last night, so I kind of wanted to talk about it first. We have Summer in the City by Alex Asher. So going into this book, I low-key kind of only bought it for the cover in this edition because it is just stunning and it screams like summer. But I actually really liked this book, which I was kind of surprised about because I did not like Light Lark, her other book, which is a YA fantasy, but I feel like she did romance really well and I really liked the characters in this one. So the story follows Elle and I forgot his name and I finished it yesterday. Elle and Parker, and he is a billionaire with a B. So he is just like loaded, and they kind of get off on the wrong foot one night, and so she comes back to New York a couple years later, and she's like a famous screenplay writer, so she's trying to write a new screenplay. They end up running into each other and having to fake date, and while they're fake dating they have to go on these adventures throughout the city, which that's why the map is like significant, because they go to these places and like the things on the map are significant. So I thought this was just really cute, and as someone who has always dreamt about going to New York, this just felt like I was there. She just does such a good job setting the scene and mentions like real places that are in New York, which that I recognize from TikTok, like Ralph's Coffee, and there's some like pizza places too and other places like that that are super popular that they go to. So it's just really cool seeing that, especially if you have been to the city. I think this would be amazing, but also if you haven't, like me, it's such a fun time. Set obviously in the summer, so if you live in the city or are going to the city on your summer, bring this with you because it is perfect for that. And then the next book I read maybe last summer actually, or the fall, I don't remember, but this is The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. I think this was a second chance book, and they get invited to one of their mutual friends' weddings, so they just kind of have to be in close proximity together with their friends, and they haven't seen each other. I think it was like 5 years ago they broke up. It was just a really fun time because you get the wedding setting and also it's second chance, and I really like when there's like a big friend group in stories because it just feels like found family and you just grow to love all the characters. So this is a great one, the perfect vibe. I think the wedding's like at a vineyard. I can't remember where it's at. Oh, Napa Valley. Such a fun time, and a lot of people gave this like 5 stars. Personally, it didn't hit that hard for me, but I still really enjoyed it. And then another book I read this I think 2 summers ago. We have Our Final Love Song by N.S. Perkins. She has another book, but I didn't really love that one as much, but if you like the idea of it, it sounds good. I think it's kind of like Every Summer After and Love in Other Words vibes, if I remember right. So this is about Jamie and Emma, and they have been in a relationship that's kind of struggling right now, and so they go to this summer camp every year, and once they get there this time they're set like in a couple years prior, like they're reliving a camp that they've already done. So they're trying to figure out obviously how to break the time loop and like what it means for their relationship since their relationship is struggling. And I really like this book because it is like super short. I think it's under 300 pages, and the vibes of it were just really good. Like the summer camp setting, it's kind of nostalgic because I did go to summer camps when I was younger, so it was just really fun to see, I guess, a more grown-up version of that. So I really enjoyed this. I know she has some other series too. I think one's more like wintry, so I definitely want to check that out. But also she has that other book I mentioned. Great author, and I think this is like indie published, so love to support. Or at least it was when I bought it like 2 years ago. I don't know if it has been traditionally now. And then another author I wanted to talk about is Miss Catherine Center. So I have read 5 or 6 books of hers recently, and all of them have been super super enjoyable. They're all closed door too, so if that's something you seek out, here you go. So this is one of her more like rom-com-y ones and like newer releases. This is The Bodyguard, but it's kind of like reverse because she's actually his bodyguard. So I love that because I love when women have like powerful jobs and just reading more about their jobs, and just that is something that Catherine Center always does in her books. Like her women are just boss bitches. Like they just have such cool careers and they're just such strong women. But in all of her books too, they are also all going through something and have to figure out something on their own, and then obviously in the relationship too. So I really like this one because you get like, he's obviously super famous. I can't remember like what he is. Okay, maybe he's just like famous. You get the famousness of him, but you also get this like small town ranch that they're at. One thing with Catherine Center is her books always get kind of crazy and out of pocket, like in a good way. Some turns in this happened and I was just like, what? But yeah, the romance was super cute, and I really liked the setting of this one and just her job, and it was so cool. And I liked reading more about her coworkers because they were all like, oh my gosh, he's so hot, he's so famous, and she was just like, no, you know what I mean? Like it was just so fun like that. She has, I think, a new release coming out this summer too, which we will talk more about in my TBR. Another book by hers, How to Walk Away, and this one is about a woman who was in a plane crash, and so she is in the hospital, and I want to say she's paralyzed, and so her physical therapist and her are working to get her to walk again. So you're just reading about her story, like what happened and how she's recovering and how everyone in her life is kind of taking the situation. And what I really liked about this book, oh, I have a bookmark in here. Oh my god, it's my Gilmore Girls bookmark. I was looking for that. But what I really like about this book is she just does such a good job at depicting all the different emotions that go on in a situation like this, and it just feels so real. You just get to see like the raw emotions that our main girl is feeling, and also her family. And this definitely is more of like a literary fiction vibe with a side plot of romance, which personally, those are some of my favorite romances, so I ate this up. And then her other book, Things You Save in the Fire, this one follows our main girl who is a firefighter, and she has to move fire stations to be in the same town as her mother because her mom is sick and she has to take care of her. And at this fire station, she is the only woman. Kind of some things with that, like some of them aren't super accepting, and there's just some like stereotypes with that and just icky stuff. But she is such a strong person that she is able to fight through that and just has so much character growth and development. And the romance in this was actually top tier. Like it was adorable, and some of the things the characters ended up helping our main girl with were just so sweet. So definitely read this one too. I feel like I really like her older books, honestly. Guys, it's honestly kind of ridiculous how many more books we have to talk about, and I already feel like I've been filming forever. Okay, so sticking with that like closed door romance theme, we have Anything by Sarah Adams. Well, actually this book I think does show a little bit of that, but the other two are closed door, I think. So this is the Win in Rome series by Sarah Adams. So our first book starts off with Amelia, who is a famous pop star, and she kind of ends up stranded on this baker's doorstep. And so you're following their romance because she's kind of just like done with the spotlight for right now, so she needs a break. So she drives to Rome, Kentucky, and ends up on his doorstep. And so this story continues on by following Noah, our main guy in Win in Rome's sisters in the other two books, and then what's going to be the fourth one. Definitely start in order with Win in Rome because it just makes it so much better, and you just know the siblings better. And I think especially with this one you will be confused because the siblings are very prevalent throughout the series. Then this one follows Amelia from the first book's bodyguard, and then again one of Noah's sisters. And then the second one is just following one of Noah's sisters and then her who turns into her neighbor, and it's just like very tropey. So definitely pick this series up if you're looking for like a closed door or just like a short summary vibe time. Like all these books are just around 300 pages and they're so much fun. Sarah Adams' writing is just so fun, and the small town that these are set in is just such a vibe. You will love all of the town characters so much. And then we have the Done and Dusted series. So I have only read the first two of the series, so that's why I'm just talking about the first two. I do sneak peek, I do want to read the second two this summer, so those will be in the TBR section. But so this series is set on Rebel Blue Ranch, which is this small town ranch place that the main main characters live in. So it kind of all follows the Ryder siblings. So the first one is about Clementine, the only daughter, and she falls in love with Luke, who actually is kind of like their childhood friend, and she has to come back to town for a while, so she left and then kind of comes back, and it's like, wait, Luke's low-key kind of, that's where their romance starts. This story is, again, super short and sweet, and just the country small town vibes are so there. She is a professional horse rider, so the series is just so fun. And again, like the found family, because you get so many just like family dinner scenes that are amazing. And then this story follows Ada and Wes, who Wes is the sibling and Ada is someone who gets hired to interior design this place on the farm he's rebuilding. Again, you will just fall in love with all the siblings and the characters, and there's just, again, so much found family. Like, there's all the girls kind of have a group, and then the guys are obviously all brothers, so they're just kind of besties too. And then this I actually read this spring, The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I've read a couple of their other books and I've just really enjoyed them all. They are just such good authors. They just know how to tell a story. So this follows Anna, and she was kind of fake married to West, and they just kind of got married because they needed some like housing agreement for school. And a couple years later he comes back and he's like, hey wifey, I need you for something. So she agrees to be his fake wife to his sister's extravagant wedding on a private island. What I really liked about this book is it wasn't like just the romance. We got a ton of like family dynamics, and also the girl had stuff going on too at home, and especially the guy had just a bunch of family stuff going on, so I really liked them having to deal with that. We'll also figure out what their relationship was, since they were technically married before, but then like whatever happened. This was a really interesting time, and I thought the vibes of the island were great. It was super fun. It was definitely more like kind of lusty and just like physical attraction-y, but I still enjoyed it and had a great time. This is one I read 2 years ago, so I don't remember it the best, but I remember having a great time with it. So our main girl, Henley, she works on a cruise ship, on a cruise line. The main guy in this, he is also trying to get the same promotion as her, which I think it's like marketing or social media something. So they have to go on this cruise together, which, yeah, I'll go on a cruise. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd love to do that for work. Like, what? She just had some preconceived notions about him and kind of thought he was like the bane of her existence and all of that. Like, they just beefed online at work. So them going on the cruise together obviously forced proximity, and I really liked this story because personally I've never been on a cruise, and I don't know if I ever will, because big bodies of water scare me, and also boats just, they're not really for me. So this was fun to read about and live vicariously through them, and for some reason I like reading books about cruise ships. There is another one on here in the mystery section, so stay tuned. Yeah, I really like this story, and I thought it was fun because you get to also see their like outings off the boat when they stop in ports and stuff, so I thought this was really fun. This is the perfect vacation book, I'd say. And then we are getting into some like YA romances, which I feel like YA is like the perfect genre in summer to read. The first one I picked up is Float, and this I read a couple summers ago too. I think it is in a reading vlog, like reading romance or summer books for a week. This was a Wattpad story, which I've talked about this before, how I love Wattpad. I wrote on Wattpad, I read on Wattpad, it was just great. So I always love seeing Wattpad books be published like this. So this follows our main girl Waverly, and she is from Alaska, but for the summer she has to go to Florida to live with her aunt, and her aunt's neighbor has a son named Blake, and he kind of just shows her around town and just like all the summery things to do in Florida. So I thought this was cute, and it's kind of just like a summer fling romance. Will obviously probably turn into more after it, so I thought this was just a fun time. Again, it's like YA, so it's super sweet. It's just really entertaining seeing the change of scenery for her, like coming from Alaska to Florida and all the things she does and tries to learn about then, and making new friends and all of that. I'm not gonna lie, it is the next day. No, the next day. So that's why my hair is wet, but I put on the same sweatshirt. So let's get back to where we are. So I think we were in the middle of YA romances, so I do have a couple more. So this one I also read a couple years ago. It's called Love and Other Great Expectations by Miss Becky Dean, and I actually have another one of her books on my summer TBR for this year. So this book, it's about our main girl Britt, and so she has this opportunity to play soccer at her dream college, but in order to do that they have to complete this like scavenger hunt around England, which like, why can't this stuff be real? This guy she meets, Luke, who is British, helps her win, and so she just has to kind of compete against the other students for this opportunity. And this was just a fun time because, kind of like Summer in the City earlier, I just like books where it's very atmospheric about the place or the city it's set in. I just like YA books where there's kind of like a competition or something going on like that. It just makes it so fun. And then we have Begin Again by Emma Lord. I have actually read a lot of her books, and that was before kind of booktube book talk, so really all of her books I'd recommend, but this is the only physical one I have. This might be a more like start of the school year, end of summer book, because it is about our main girl Andy, who she has like this whole plan for her life. She wants to transfer from community college to competitive Blue Ridge State, major in psychology, and become an iconic self-help figure. She navigates what life is like in college when your plans don't go as planned. She does have a boyfriend going into college, but I kind of think that the love interest was someone else. So there is a side plot in this that was really fun and entertaining, and I feel like if you are going into college or you're just making a change with that, this would be a good one to read because it deals with a lot of kind of life talk and what major and just figuring out college. And then we have Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum. So our main girl Jessie, she moves to this LA prep school. So this anonymous person messages her once she gets there and is kind of like, hey, I would like to help you navigate this new school, like telling her about so-and-so, who they are, whatever. They're like past, their family stuff, whatever. And so she is kind of trying to figure out who this person is, and she has some theories, and it's really interesting trying to figure out who is anonymously messaging her, because you think it's going one way and that it actually isn't. Definitely kind of predictable though, since it is just like a YA story, but I really like this. YA books are always so fun because they just have some random plot that's like anonymous person messaging, or they have to do this scavenger hunt. So that's why I think they're so fun for the summer, because it's just entertaining and it keeps you going, and they're just such a great time. I actually really like this one too because it was dealing with kind of her move across the country and then also balancing the friends she has at home. So I thought that was really interesting, and this is a super short time, and I just thought it was a great time. And then the last romance I have to talk about is The Summer of Broken Rules. This was one of my favorite books a couple years ago. I absolutely love this one, and I have read a couple other of her books and I haven't enjoyed them as much, so it's kind of annoying. But this one follows Meredith, and every year her family goes to Martha's Vineyard for a vacation, which like, that's the dream. And this year they play a game of assassin with everybody because there's like a wedding going on, so there's like more people there. And that was really fun because again, the random YA plot line is just so entertaining, and I really liked the romance in this one. And again, there was some deeper stuff in this book that our main girl was dealing with. I'm not gonna like spoil it. It is on the back of the book, like if you want to find it, find it. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting, and the family dynamic is also interesting, and I just love, of course, the Martha's Vineyard setting. I think this is one of my favorite YA summer focused books. This is Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett, and something about this cover too just scratches such an itch in my brain. This follows our main girl Bailey. She kind of has an online persona and an online relationship with someone, and she finds herself in the same town as that someone. So she is trying to figure out who he is in person without giving herself away, which I feel like I just eat up tropes like that. I eat them up because it's just so entertaining and cute and wholesome. She works at this like museum place that is so interesting to read about and see as a setting, and the way I pictured it in my head is very interesting. So I really like that too, like just like a quirky place. Also, she is kind of crushing on this guy in person too, but again, she has the online relationship, so she's just kind of trying to figure that out while also trying to suss out who the online person is. So definitely pick this one up. I love this, and I think I have another one of her books somewhere that I thrifted a while ago, so definitely want to pick that up. Last stack, this is just kind of everything. So starting off, we have a YA thriller mystery, Lying in the Deep. Honestly, I actually really liked this book. This follows our main girl, what's her name? Jade. So she goes on this like cruise ship vibe thing that is very reminiscent of Semester at Sea, where basically you're like studying on a cruise ship and like going to different ports and stuff. And on this trip, her ex-best friend and her ex-boyfriend are on it. So she's trying to avoid them, obviously, in the drama with that. So you get that dynamic. And then also there's a murder mystery on the boat, clearly. I really liked this book. Like, I really want to reread it because it was so good. There were so many twists, and I really enjoyed the murder mystery aspect, how it was on a boat, because obviously it's close quarters and it's confined. Like, you don't know what's going on and it's crazy. I really liked to seeing the ports they got off at, and just, it was so fast paced, and I really like her writing, and I loved it. It was so good. Like, this is a really good rec. I feel like because it is on the cruise ship vibe, so it's definitely more vacation summer-esque, like the ocean, and the ports they stop at too are also just very summer-esque. And then I picked up Mary Jane, and then I picked up, this is not a wrap-up, and then I read, the next summer book recommendation I have is Mary Jane by Jessica Aniel Blau. Again, I read this a couple years ago and I loved it. This book was so good and definitely very summer-esque. I mean, just look at the cover. So this follows our main girl Mary Jane, and it is set in the 1970s. So there's just different expectations, different lifestyles, just different ways of life, I guess. And so Mary Jane lives in a very like straightforward family where, I don't know, she just has stricter parents, stricter rules, and stricter just like stuff she has to do. But she gets the opportunity to babysit for this other family in her town, and they are just like the complete opposite of her family. I think the dad in it is a famous musician, so there's just a lot of different things she's seen in that house, different rules and just different things that that family does that she has never seen before. It's just really interesting watching her figure out kind of what, not necessarily side, but like what path she believes in, because obviously she's living basically two lives, at one at the babysitter's house and the other at her house, and having to act two different ways kind of. So I thought this was just very interesting because I just love the 1970s vibe. It's just unmatched. It was just a story of character growth and just figuring out who you're going to be, and as a teenager being exposed to new things and new experiences. This was a great time, and it is set in the summer because obviously she's babysitting throughout the summer. So you again just get summer vibes. They go swimming and all that. And then I have the Madoran Chronicles series. This is not the first book, so just pretend it is. But this is by Lynette Nani, who has quickly become one of my favorite authors. I love her. So this series follows Alex, who she is just a normal girly. She is going to this boarding school like on Earth, but then she somehow gets transported to this fantasy world school, Arcane, where everyone has powers. And what I really love about this series is the found family in it is so good. There are so many side characters, and also it's really simple to get into, and the way she sets up each book is really amazing, because the first book you kind of have one part of the world you're in the second book it expands, the third book it expands, and so on. And the plot in this was really entertaining too. There is just so much going on, and I really loved seeing the side characters and all of that. And everyone does have like a special power. You get to see her and her friends going through classes, training, all that. I cannot recommend this series enough. And then Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. So this follows our main girl Alosa, and she is on this mission to retrieve this super well hidden ancient map, and the map is the key to this like legendary treasure. She's the captain of her own ship, and she gets kidnapped by our main guy Raiden. That dynamic is always so good in fantasy books, and I loved our main girl because she's a baddie. She is a badass. I mean, literally she's like a pirate captain. Like, she is so cool. I really like this story because I love like a treasure hunt vibe, and it was really interesting because it's set like on a pirate ship mostly, so that was really fun to read about. And I just think this is a good summer book because it is obviously the water, the ocean setting, but it's just such a fast-paced time. It's such a good story, and the romance is great as well. And then The Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this is basically YA Criminal Minds. So basically in this, the FBI kind of handpicks certain kids who have different talents. So one guy's good at profiling, statistics, lie detector, just stuff like that they have a talent for. So the FBI kind of recruits them to solve cold cases. And what I really liked about that is the friend group definitely has the found family vibe. And also when you get to the end of this series, just everything ties in together perfectly. And the series definitely gets more intense as it goes on, which I really like, and it makes it really addicting. So this is definitely the perfect read for the summertime because it's just so bingeable. And then one of my favorite kind of series of ever is Dial A for Aunties. So this is a cozy mystery series, so it is very comedical, very comedic, but also there's like mystery stuff going on. So this book starts off with Madeline, and she accidentally kills her blind date. She calls her aunties and is like, hey guys, I need help. So they help her do that, and of course everything that can go wrong goes wrong. That's where it starts off, and this story is just amazing. And the best part about it, in my opinion, is the family dynamic, because they are hilarious and all of them have their own quirks, and I just love them as a family so much. This is a series. It does get kind of drug out after the second book, but it's still a great time if if you like the characters like I did. And then another recent read and new release actually is Frederick Bachman's My Friends. Definitely the cover is giving very summer vibes, which this book isn't necessarily. Part of it is very summery and the other part isn't, so you're getting two perspectives, past and present. So in the past you're following a group of friends during their summer, and so you're seeing all their summer adventures, everything they do in the summer, and it's very just like teenager core. Like some of the stuff they do is actually idiotic, but it is just, it's teenager core. It is so fun to read about. And then the present timeline is one of the friends many years later telling their story to our main girl Louisa. And I really just loved all of the characters in this so much. This story is so powerful and so emotional, and Frederick Bachman just literally has the best writing I have ever read. Highly, highly recommend. Okay guys, I think it's time for the TBR recs. So I am going to start with the ones I screenshotted that are mostly new releases because otherwise I will forget about them. The first one I said is What Happens in Amsterdam by Rachel Lynn Solomon. The only book I've tried to read by her I DNF'd, so we'll see how this one goes, but the cover actually just makes me want to buy the book, which is bad. I really am intrigued about the Amsterdam setting. I know nothing about this book besides this. Also, The Love Haters by Catherine Center I would love to read as well, but I'm not too sure if I will get to it because I want to read the rest of her newer releases before I get to it. So I have Hello Stranger, and I think there's one more that I would like to get to before I pick up this one, but we all know that may not happen. I may just go to this one. And then obviously, I'm currently reading this one, Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford. It is so good. It is so good. And that's all I'll say because you gotta watch next week's video. And then also Annabelle Monaghan's new book, It's a Love Story. I don't know what this one is about, but I've really enjoyed her other books that I've read. I read Summer Romance and Same Time Next Summer. Same Time Next Summer was my favorite. I didn't absolutely love Summer Romance, but I just love her books because she's just very reminiscent of Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez, kind of more literary fiction vibe, which is what I love. And then also The Tenant by Frida McFadden I would love to read. I just love reading her books as kind of palate cleanser books because they're just so fast paced and will always kind of get me back into reading if I'm feeling a little slumpy. So I just love her books so much. I think this is the second one, but the first one of this, No One Was Supposed to Die at the Vacation or something like that. I keep seeing that book around and it just sounds like something right up my alley because I just love like a cozy mystery. So really want to pick that up, and the second one just came out. That is all of the ones I don't own, and now we are going to do ones I do own because the physical TBR needs to stop. Like, it needs to just stop. We just need to get rid of it all. Like, I just need to read them all somehow. Actually, the book that I'm going to be reading next after I finish Rewind It Back, which again will be in next week's video hopefully, Remarkably Bright Creatures, which if you guys don't own this book and are looking to buy it, this is the Target edition and the sprayed edges are beautiful. The Barnes edition also has sprayed edges, but I really like these ones because it has the octopus on it. So this book I feel like I've just heard incredible things about, and it is going to be a show soon and I really want to watch the show, but I obviously have to read the book first because that's just how I am. So all I really know about this is that she works at an aquarium and becomes friends with the octopus there, which I am such an animal lover, so that sounds amazing. And I feel like this is one of those books that like it is so much more than that. So I am trying not to read the back. I have caught a glimpse of some things on the back of the book, but I'm just trying to go in so blind to this because I feel like it's going to be a favorite of mine. So excited to get to this one. I love this edition too. It is beyond beautiful. Speaking of beautiful books, Passion Project by London Sperry. I cannot wait to read this. I just love New York. I am so obsessed with New York and just going there. So this sounds so amazing. I don't really know what this one's about, but it looks like he kind of helps her find a passion for life. So their passion project finds them sampling photography, tattooing, and rappelling off skyscrapers. Just something like that sounded so fun and kind of similar to Summer in the City, which I absolutely loved. And this cover actually like goes crazy. And then this book I think I got last summer. It is, I think, just like a summer mystery book. So it says A Summer in Greece for Three Best Friends ends in the unthinkable when only two return home. Just again, the Greece vibes. I hope we get like past and present timelines, and I think this would be so fun because I just love like a fiction mystery book, and I feel like lately especially I've been really diving into just like the fiction genre, and it is a Reese's Book Club book, which I swear up and down by. Another fiction book I want to pick up is Wayward by Amelia Hart. I know she also just came out with another book recently, but this one I just have been really wanting to get to, and the cover is beautiful. It is set in 3 timelines, which I have been really loving the historical fiction books lately. So it's set in 2019, 1619, and then 1942. I am so excited about this. I don't know, I'm assuming they all kind of connect, all the women it follows, so I'm really excited to see this. It says, Wayward is an enthralling novel of female resilience and the transformative power of the natural world. Another book I'm really excited about is Pictures of You by Emma Grace. So this is about Evie Hudson, and she is in this like insane car crash where I think can't remember anything. Yeah, she can't remember her husband, and the only person who can help her piece the past together is her high school best friend, Drew Kennedy. So she's trying to figure out obviously like what happened and who she is basically, and I thought this would be a great time because it sounds so good. Well, maybe it wouldn't be a great time because it sounds kind of sad, but yeah. And I really enjoyed Catherine Zenner's book that was kind of similar to this, so I would love to finally get to this book. Finally would love to. It has been on my shelves for I think probably 3 years now. All I really know, something about travel to an orphanage on a distant island and determine whether 6 dangerous medical children are so dangerous. I honestly really don't know much about this book, but all I know is there's this orphanage, and I think it's probably just like a really wholesome story about the kids at the orphanage. I really have literally no clue what this is about. The cover kind of gives summer. I don't know, I just really want to get to this eventually, and hopefully this season, and I feel like I've heard so many great things. I do know there is other books he's wrote. Another book I finally want to get to is Belladonna. This is just one of those books I look at and I'm like, I'm gonna love that. So I hope I do. I don't know what this is about at all. And I just love going into books blind lately, so that is probably what I'm going to do with this one. Out of the Woods by Hannah Bodum Young. Again, I talked about this earlier, how I just like the summer camp setting and vibe. It's very nostalgic. So Sarah and Caleb, they are together and they're kind of trying to rekindle their relationships. They, I think, go on this like wilderness retreat. Oh, no, grueling hiking trip. I was close, but that sounds fun. And then a couple like YA summer books I have. The Summer of Lost Letters. This is by Hannah Reynolds, and this is about... Ooh, this low-key might be sad. Wait, I want to read this right now. So it looks like our main girl Abby is going through a breakup, and her friends show up at her door and are giving her her grandma's possessions, and they are love letters in it. So her grandma had love letters from a mystery man from a mansion on Nantucket. So she goes to Nantucket? Oh, wow. Wait, this sounds so good, actually. I love a book where we're getting past timelines from family members, whatever it may be, whether that's through letters or just like perspectives. And I'm currently listening to Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros, and I feel like this might give the same type of vibe, so I'm really excited. And then Beach Cute by Beth Riekels, who wrote The Kissing Booth, which we all know and love probably. It looks like 3 strangers are on their way to the same resort. Their lives collide under the sun. Will they have a summer they'll never forget? Sounds entertaining, just like a cute YA whatever. I didn't know they were strangers. That's interesting. Sounds like a great time. This I feel like would be a great vacation book. It's just simple, mindless, and just easy. And then the last kind of YA summer book I have is The Matchmaker Summer. Oh, her name's Paisley. That's so cute. Ooh, her family has a summer camp by the lake. That sounds so fun. Ooh, it sounds like it's like enemies to lovers. This sounds like a quick time. It's really short. I think this will just be a great, easy read. I would love to finish the Done and Dusted Rebel Blue Ranch series because I've enjoyed it so much, and the books are so short, and I feel like cowboy romances just give summer vibes. So I'm really excited to get to these. These are the 3rd and 4th books. I won't say too much if you haven't read them, but highly recommend. And then a book that's been on my mind recently, and I just feel like I'm really gonna like, is The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. So this is kind of a dystopian thriller book. Every year, the girls, when they hit a certain age, they have to go into the woods to release their magic, and I feel like no one really knows like what happens when they're there. The premise is very vague, and so like you know there's more going on under the surface than that. So this just seems really, really interesting. And then another thriller I would like to read is A Flicker in the Dark, which if you watched last week, you'd know how I got this for $1. So this is about 6 teenage girls going missing in a small Louisiana town, and our main girl's father confessed to the crimes. And now 20 years later, Chloe is a psychologist and more teenage girls go missing. So this sounds really good, and I feel like I've heard great things about this thriller and this author, so this will be my first book by her and I'm really excited. And then I have The Getaway List, again by Emma Lord. So this follows, looks like she's spending her summer in New York. It looks like she's going on adventures with a guy. I really don't know. Sometimes I just read descriptions and nothing like processes. That's that one. That is all of the books I want to read and then recommend you guys to read this summer. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any summer recs or summer TBR books you want to talk about in the comments, let me know down below and I would love to add them to my mental TBR and just see what you guys recommend. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.